Today we're looking at a digestive center practice. Great for late summer for the digestive system organs, the stomach, which is yang, and the spleen pancreas, which is yin. And this sits in the late summer section of our annual seasonal cycle. But you can also work, this area is important, particularly during between seasons. So for example, particularly between winter and spring, which is a big important time of year for change. So late summer sits obviously between summer and autumn. So it's already there anyway, but we can insert it in between any of the two other seasons, but particularly through between the winter and spring. So we can think about the digestive center. We can take Surya Mudra, pinning the ring fingers down with the thumbs. So ring fingers into the base of the thumbs and pin them down, straight arms. Think of your posture, gently pushing down through the sit bones, getting a nice lift up through the sternum, length through the back of the neck. So we've got that idea of pushing down to lift up. We can take a half lung full of air, Kapalabhati is that forced exhale. That's going to vacuum the belly in. Then we relax the belly, that's going to vacuum the next bit of air in. So it's just a forced exhale, and we allow the inhale to be passive, which happens automatically when we relax the belly. Take 20 to 30. And on the last one, give it a good, a longer, not stronger, but almost slow motion exhale, which does the same thing with the belly, but it's just not as short and sharp. So you can feel those muscles of forced abdominal exhalation slowly switching on right to the end as the breath leaves the body, returns back down to the base of our breathing vessel, nostrils to pelvic. From here, you can extend your right leg out and work on the left, your left. I'll mirror you. So shuffling and facing the little left short edge of your mat into Ekapada Raja Kapotanasana, you can take a block and slide it in under your left buttock. So I'm mirroring you, and slide it right up into the hamstring if that gives you a little bit more support, because it's all about the legs. But be really careful of this front knee. Particularly, you can gently push down to the front of the foot, of your left foot. That switches your leg on and gives it a little bit more strength and protects the knee. And with the back toes tucked, you could lift the back knee off the floor and just really activate the forelimbs by touching the floor with your fingertips, opening the front of the spine and opening the throat. Breathing in, breathing out, and then coming down to relax. Just come down into your forearms, then resting your forehead on your stacked hands or forearms, depending on how much height you need. Relaxing your neck and shoulders. Feeling the soft belly now inflating and deflating against the thigh. You can untuck your back toes and lift and readjust your back kneecap to make sure it's comfortable. You can, of course, keep the block in place under your left buttock, or you can remove it. But what you want is the hips to stay relatively even. You don't want that left hip to fall down towards the floor. So if there's a problem there or you want a bit of extra support, keep the block. And take a few breaths here. Relaxing your neck and shoulders, relaxing your tongue, jaw, and lips. Soft belly. Slowly coming up. Again, think about what's going on in your legs with or without the block supporting your left buttock. You can reach back and touch your right foot with your with your right hand. You can touch your left knee, your front knee with your left hand, and open up into a little bit of a twist. But also thinking about gently pulling that back foot back towards your buttock, your right foot, right buttock. And that's going to be nice and opening for those digestive meridians that run down and up the front side of the body, in this case, your right side. opening the throat, the stomach meridian coming down on the right side from underneath the right eye, over the cheekbone and jaw and throat and chest and abdomen and groin and outside of the right thigh, down the right shin and into the second and sometimes third toes. And then release. Come back to center. Switch your legs round. So bring your left shin in front. Pin your ring fingers down to the base of the thumb. Straight arms, push down through the sit bones. Lift up through the chest and the neck. Taking another round of Kapalabhati. Half lung full of air. And the last one, give it a good, just a longer, more precise, slow motion, same things occurring, but nice and slow. So you're feeling, instead of a sharp response of the belly, a slower connection to that lower part of your breathing vessel, which includes the pelvic floor. It's all just happening naturally as a result of your exhalation, no extra work required. And then stopping and relaxing, softening the belly, relaxing your neck and shoulders, and trying to return to the natural breathing rhythm. So that's really stoking the digestive fire. You often see it practiced much quicker, but the problem there is if you're starting out, you're going to try to actively inhale as well as exhale, which is a completely different practice. This one is a real focus on that active exhale, and the inhale is passive. So keep it nice and slow, and of course, at the rate that suits you and your level of comfort. From here, take your left leg back, so I'm mirroring you, extend it back, and come up onto your right shin, which is at an angle. You might see it in other sources parallel to this short edge of your mat, but just be really careful of your knee and hip. And if you're really tight, you're going to want it at a bit of an angle. You can take the block under your right buttock, and if your right buttock's too high off the floor, slide it up closer to the knee so it's more under the hamstring, and that'll give you more support. I've got mine on small, but you could have it on medium, might be a bit high for some. Don't over support yourself. And then light touch with the fingers, because you want this to really reflect in the legs. The solar plexus chakra, Manipura chakra, the work organs are the legs and feet. So when we want to connect into this solar plexus area, which is relating to the between seasons or the late summer, we want to think about what's happening with the legs. In Chinese medicine, we've got that connection down through the meridians, like I mentioned earlier, the stomach meridians and the spleen, pancreas meridians from the earth up, yang and yin. So they're also really connecting down through the legs. So both systems include the legs in this kind of practice. From here, slowly come down. Rest your forehead on the hands or forearms stacked. Relax your neck and shoulders. Keep your hips relatively square. So you can keep the block there, you can move the block, but just don't let that right buttock of yours relax down. We want the hips relatively square. So just be really careful of that front knee. Untuck the back toes if you like, lift the back knee and adjust your back kneecap so it feels comfortable, and take a few breaths here. Soft belly, inflating and deflating against your right thigh. Letting your breath return to its natural breathing rhythm. Slowly come up. You can bend. This is optional. Touch the foot. You could take a strap. I've just got a little rag here, or you can use a proper strap. You've got one. But a rag or a tea towel or a pillowcase is fine if you're at home. You want to try and make it as an arm extender, so you may not even need the strap after all, but it may be to reach it. And you just want to be gentle, but you're thinking about lengthening out through that stomach meridian on your left side now, this side, and try to draw. I'm using the heel of my hand to draw that foot back in towards the buttock. So your left foot to your left buttock. I'm using my right, your right hand will touch your front knee and opening the chest and throat up, gently pulling back. So it's a bit of a uh, balance between that lift and opening through the front body and the gentle pulling of that back leg towards the buttock. So it's hard to do both evenly, but try as you breathe in and out, feeling the belly inflate and deflate. And those that are flexible or more flexible might get the crook of the elbow, back elbow, hooked just over the toes. Okay, but that's not required. If you're really tight and you can barely reach your foot, you're still getting that same length through the front of that leg, and then release. Remove your block, lower your back buttock, release, and come back into a seated position. Come into left or right, shin in front, whichever suits you. Soft belly, relax your neck and shoulders. Breathing in and out through the nose. Let's do Surya Mudra, Sun Mudra, resting the tip of your ring finger down into the base of the thumb and then pinning that ring finger down in that position. Turn your palms up. Think about your posture, the little push down through the sit bones. That gives you the lift. Try to think about the central column engaged and maintaining that just gentle engagement as you push down, which gives you the lift up. But that doesn't mean your hips and your shoulders need to also lift up. That central column can stay nice and long and engage gently, but you can relax your neck and shoulders. You can relax your hips. So just because you've got the central column engaged doesn't mean everything has to be engaged. Try to learn how to distinguish between one and the other. And then taking a final round of Kapalabhati, the forced exhale, gets the belly drawn in automatically. Then we relax the belly. That gets a bit of air in for the next breath automatically. It's passive. When you're ready, take a half lung full of air and begin. And the last one, give it a good, not stronger, don't bust a gut, gentle, but slightly longer and more precise exhalation through the nose, always only through the nose, in and out. And feeling that lower part of the breathing vessel, those muscles of forced abdominal exhalation, slowly switching on right to the end of the breath out. And don't be afraid just to revel in that exhale only when you're ready, breathing in. So you're not holding the breath out per se, but you're not rushing to breathe in either. When you're ready to breathe in without any stress or strain, soften the belly, relax the neck and shoulders, and taking a few breaths back into that involuntary rhythm. Then from here, if you wanted to add in a little bit of extra movement, you could come onto all fours. Think about the tailbone as the handle of a whip. And as you lift your sit bones, your tailbone, the handle, that opens the front of the spine and throat. Breathing out as you tuck the tailbone, that shortens the front of the spine. Push into the hands, hollow the chest, lower the chin. Just take 2 or 3 breaths, just like that. Breathing in. The inhale or the breath is the instigator. Then it's the movement of the tailbone up, in this case, that opens the front of the spine and throat. Breathing out, tucking the tailbone, hollowing the chest, lowering the chin. Breathing in and breathing out. then release. Think about alternate limbs, your right arm and left leg. I'll do the same as you. Breathing in, reaching out. Breathing out, elbow to knee. Hollow the chest, feel the belly shrink, and that's going to give you more space, more core engagement. Breathing in, extending out long. You can keep the back of the neck relatively long rather than jamming it. Breathing out, feel the belly shrink, and bring the elbow to knee. Breathing in, extending out, reaching to the fingers and thumbs, pushing back into the heel, and breathing out, elbow to knee. Feel the belly shrink. So it's all about this central area and our core connection for today's session. Breathing in, extending out, reaching to the fingertips, pushing back to the heel. Stay here for a few breaths if this is all right for you, or return to this position and hold for a few breaths. If you can reach around, touch your back foot. You could use a strap gently to lasso your foot, if that helps, because you're just getting that connection. And over time, you can swirl your hand down and maybe even reach the foot. But then if you've got a hold of the foot, kicking back into the foot without letting go and really feeling that left leg of yours really engaging right down from the toes into the hip socket. And then release, coming back to this position, and then breathing out, coming back. Breathe in, breathe out with the toes tucked, taking your hips back about a third. Stay here, breathe in. Breathe out, coming back another third, so 2/3. Relax your neck. Stay there, breathe in. And breathing out, coming back all the way. That could be 95%. You've got your toes tucked, so that makes the calves switch on and bulkier, which means it's hard to go all the way back. Take a few breaths here. And then for a moment, you could come up. If you're struggling with your knees or your toes, you can stay on all fours. You could bring the hands closer to the knees, relax your neck and shoulders. Breathe with a soft belly. If you're feeling okay and you want to come up a little higher, you can choose anywhere from here to completely upright. Roll your shoulders forward and up, breathing in, back and down, breathing out. Sinking the weight down into the feet. Nice one for the kidney meridians that start in the feet, but also really connecting down into the feet and toes particularly as we come into spring, which has got a really strong upward rising energy. We want to really focus on that groundedness and centeredness, being close to the floor and thinking about this digestive center helps with that. But generally speaking, the solar plexus connects well and importantly down through the legs and feet. So anything we can do to keep the legs and feet, the ankles, the knees, the hips healthy is going to help with our power center, our ego center, which we want to be nice and balanced. We don't want to be an egomaniac, but we don't want to be walked all over. We want somewhere in the middle where we can be confident and acknowledge our self-worth. From here, we can do the other side. So we're going to do left arm, right leg, breathing in, extending out, breathing out, elbow to knee. As the belly shrinks, feel that connection. Breathing in, extending out to the fingers, push back into the heel. Don't lift them higher than shoulder and hip height. Breathing out, elbow to knee. Breathing in, try and use the nostrils only if you can. Extend out to the fingertips, push back into the heels. Breathing out, elbow to knee. Feel the belly shrink, and that gives you more connection to core and ability to get those elbow and knee closer. If you're working on flexibility, we want to work on strength and flexibility. Breathing in, coming back to neutral. Stay here for a few breaths, or you could bend your back knee, your right knee, reach around and hold onto the foot. You could lasso the foot with a tea towel or a pillowcase or a yoga strap, or eventually holding onto the foot. You can have it inside or outside. Inside, I think's better. And then as if you were kicking the foot back into the hand without letting go, lifting the knee and feeling that stomach meridian or the quads engage, those earth element meridians running, particularly the yang, down into the foot and toes, opening the throat. And then release, coming back to this position, and then slowly coming out. Breathing in, stay here. Breathing out, toes tucked, rock back, just a third. Stay here, breathe in. Breathing out, rocking back. Stay here, breathe in. Breathing out, rocking back. Relax your neck and shoulders. Adjust your hands if you need to. Stay with your hands on the floor if that's enough for your toes. If your toes are feeling fine, your ankles and knees are feeling fine, and you wanted to come up to give a little bit more weight down into the feet, you can do that. Soft belly. Roll your shoulders forward and up, back and down. Take into Ustrasana, hold on to your back. Toes tucked is good. It switches the legs on and it really then gives you strength and energy in your solar plexus. Hold on to the lower back and actually just push down through the kneecaps, lift up through the sternum, squeeze the shoulder blades. You can lift your chin slightly to open the throat, but don't let your head dump back, and over time that'll strain the back of your neck, but just gently opening the front of the throat, squeezing the shoulder blades, squeezing the elbows, push down into the kneecaps, lifting your chin gently, breathing in and out, feeling the belly inflate and deflate. Then release. Untuck your toes. Take a block if you can. It's better for your neck over time. Slowly coming down and resting your forehead down. This is the easy version. See how I can get my head to the floor. Take your knees wider if you need to. But if I was to come up in that position, this is how I would be walking around, which is not ideal considering we're spending all day, hunched over. So the block is just there to help keep your neck in line with the spine. If you wanted to add in a little bit of abdominal work, you could hold on to your thumbs. If that's comfortable, bring your knuckles in right close together, fingernails facing your belly, and have the knuckles right down on the pubic bone. So not up near the solar plexus, but right down as low as possible. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out, pursing your lips. Folding your body over the fists, all the way out with the exhalation, resting your forehead on the block, relaxing your neck and shoulders, slackening your jaw, letting your hands, fingers and thumbs rest or soften. Make sure that they're still right down low. It takes a few goes practice. So below the belly button, way below, as low as they can be. They slip up slightly, but we don't want them pushing up against the solar plexus. We want them down low. Relaxing your neck and shoulders. That might mean your body naturally shrugs as you really relax, so you lose a bit of your neck. Let your elbows melt to the floor. Let your breath settle down into its own natural rhythm. Try and let the belly yield deeply into this position. Obviously, if you're menstruating or pregnant, this wouldn't be ideal. And particularly if anything's uncomfortable for you, we wouldn't do it just after a 3-course meal. So ideally, it's 4 hours after a big meal, 2 hours after something to eat, a smaller meal. But best is first thing in the morning, generally speaking, before you've eaten anything. Soften your tongue, jaw, and lips. And really let your breath settle back down into its own natural rhythm. And from here, slowly coming up, release your hands and just coming down and lying in Shavasana. Take your legs slightly apart. Take your arms slightly wider, elbows slightly wider, even if your hands are on the body or on the floor. Check your neck. And just feeling the soft belly inflate and deflate as your breath settles back down into its own natural rhythm. Feeling the weight flow down into your feet and legs as they melt into the floor with each exhalation. Relaxing your neck and shoulders, relaxing your arms into the weight of the hands, fingers and thumbs melting into the floor with each breath out. Relaxing through the fifth limb, the neck. Technically, it's of course part of the spine, but softening through the neck and never leaving your head or forcing your head still in any one position, letting the weight of the head melt into the floor and letting your neck release as the tension unwinds gradually over time. Letting your breath ultimately settle down into its own natural rhythm.